What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reviewing an Xcessive Manufacturing 1JZ, 2JZ front sump oil pan. So here's a JZ oil pan front sump on their website. It is $4.95 plus tax and shipping. And in the description, the first thing that caught my attention is they talk about a GS300 pan and a JZX90 pan, which I know that JZX90 pan is off of a 1JZ and a GS300 pan is a 2JZ VVTI, but again, I have a 2JZ VVTI Aristo from Japan, so I personally don't know if they're the same or not. Looking at their pictures, the GS300 pan that they used in their picture here kind of looks like mine, but I'm not 100% sure. So to be honest, I kind of took a leap of faith ordering this pan and hoping that it'll actually be bigger than my current pan. So, two reasons why I got this pan. Reason number one, it has baffles. Baffles are very important for front sumps. After doing some research and damaging my freshly built JZ at the track, I realized that front sumps suffer from oil starvation and oil slosh. What that means is oil goes from one corner to the other of the oil pan, and the oil pickup can't actually pick up any oil during high RPMs because all the oil is already inside the engine going through all the little channels. And then reason number two, this oil pan is actually and supposedly bigger than what I currently have, which means it adds more oil quantity in the engine, allowing the engine to actually have more oil. So here's the Xcessive Manufacturing oil pan, and these are the baffles I was talking about. There's three of them, one on each side and one on the front. And what that does is it keeps the oil in here, allowing the oil pickup to pick it up straight from the middle. This way, when your car is flying around and the oil shifting, the oil bounces off of that and it can only enter it and not exit it. This way you have that oil in there as necessary as comparison to a stock pan. There's nothing in here, so the oil just sloshes around left to right, from front to rear. Now, there is one more option for these baffles. I believe it's Blue Moon. They sell a baffle just like this that bolts onto the bottom of the block and it drops nicely into the oil pan. It is half the price as this piece right here. However, it's nowhere to be found in US. You have to order it from Japan. The wait time is anywhere from a month to 3 months. So to me, that was not an option. I went with this also because of the volume of oil being larger as well. Here's the Blue Moon Performance baffle that I was talking about. One seller is Suspicious Garage. They're local here, but I've kept in touch with them, and there's nothing coming in right now. You can see it's out of stock, so obviously that was not an option for me. I'm putting this engine together already. I can't wait. That is why I ordered this pan right here. So as you guys could see in a quick comparison, this is my 2JZ VVTI oil pan. Like they said on the description, it's like a GS300. Their pan is a little taller, so that right there tells me there's going to be more volume. Also, there's this big hump here on their pan. That hump has been slightly modified for more volume. In the description on the website, they do talk about that this will clear like an ass chassis 240SX swap. You don't have to worry about this being an issue and hitting your subframe. So one other thing they talk about on the website that's kind of important is a JZX90, which is a 1JZ, has a shorter oil pickup, about 1 inch shorter. The pan is actually shorter than a GS300, or in this case 2JZ VVTI. With that being shorter, the oil pickup doesn't drop into the oil pan as much, which means it's never going to pick up that oil on the bottom. So the increase in the volume doesn't really get used up by the engine, but it still helps with heat dissipation because that oil is still cycling through the engine, so you have now more oil collecting the heat. So it's still better, but I would highly recommend getting yourself a 2JZ oil pickup, so it's a little longer. This way it sits down a lot lower in this pan, allowing you to use all the features of it. So upon dropping this oil pan onto the engine, I noticed that the oil pickup bracket actually gets in the way of the baffles, and well, you can't actually close this. It's not a big deal. Looking closer at it, I just need to shave this bracket down a little bit because the overall dimensions of it are a little wider than the cutout they have here on the baffles. I did go back onto their website to look at the description, and they do talk about using a IS300 or GS300 oil pan pickup. I don't know if those are any different from a 2JZ from an Aristo. I'm gonna assume that they might be, but I'm not 100% sure. So that's just something for you guys to know and understand, that you might run into the same issue as me here, which is not a big deal. A little bit of shaving, some basic tools, and this should fit right in. So to give you guys a little better knowledge what's happening with the oil pickup here, either these corners on the oil pickup need to get shaved down to get into this groove, or this corner right here needs to get shaved down a little bit so this fits in a little better. As you guys saw on the earlier video when it was on the actual block, there was about this much clearance issue as this was keeping the pan up. So that's something that's gonna have to get resolved on the consumer side for now. And that's it. What's up guys, look from the future here. I actually modified the oil pickup and the oil pan already, and I wanted to definitely shoot this and show you guys with the modifications that I did before I actually post the video, so you're actually aware of what had to be done, because I know I mentioned in this video that there was some clearance issues. So I got it solved. I'm going to share that with you guys right now. This way you know what you're getting into when you're buying that oil pan. So I ended up modifying the actual oil pan itself. Right here, if you guys remember, in this area there was a section that was sticking out, so I grinded that down, and I also went down a little lower here, as low as I could basically. After that, I did have to take this this section out and completely clean the oil pan so there's no debris left. I would highly recommend taking that out either way. Then you can grind it out of the pan. And there is some casting imperfections, like a little shavings that are left over here when you get it, so make sure you clean that. Also, I ended up modifying the oil pickup. I had to grind these areas here, and then I ran into a problem, because once you grind these areas here, this became very unstable and it was just bending on its own weight, so it kind of no longer working as a reinforcement bar for the pickup. So I threw some welds in here. Made it a solid piece. No longer bends, it's all solid now. So that's what you guys got to do. Unfortunately, that is an imperfection with this oil pan. There is a clearance issue on a 2JZ vvti. I don't know about 1Js in this case, but that is something you're gonna have to do, so just be prepared. It's not a lot of work, just a grinder, air compressor, and a water hose to clean it all up after. One more feature about this oil pan is that it has 2 drain plugs. May not seem like a necessity, but if you are jacking up the engine or jacking up the car only on one side, or you have some cheap jack stands that are uneven and the engine's not horizontal while you're doing the oil change, you can always use either or both drain plugs to make sure all the oil gets drained out of the pan. I think that's kind of a cool feature. So the oil pan comes with 2 drain plugs, as I mentioned. The drain plugs already have crush washers and seals on them. I'm sure these will have to get replaced down the road after a couple oil services. I'll have to contact them to see where I can get these from, or what size they are, where I could get them, because the instructions that came with it don't say anything about it. It came with new hardware bolts. Since this pan is larger, there's going to be some clearance issues if you were to use the stock bolts. So they supplied us with these Allen heads that drop right in, so you don't have any clearance issues. So one last thing we're gonna check is the actual oil capacity of the Xcessive Manufacturing oil pan. We're gonna compare it to my 2JZ oil pan, which is like the GS300 oil pan, and on their website they say it has about 7 quarts. So we're gonna fill both of them with water and we're gonna measure it and see exactly how much more oil capacity we're gonna gain from going with the Xcessive Manufacturing oil pan. So for the purpose of this exercise, I filled a bucket full of water and we're gonna fill both of the oil pans up all the way to the top. And then we're gonna drain them back down and measure how much they actually hold. Alright, so as you guys could see, I filled the stock 2JZ oil pan to the top with water, and then I've also filled up the Xcessive Manufacturing oil pan to the top. I got a little drip going on here because I left these loose just so I don't have to shake these things around when I drain them. So let's go ahead and start with draining of the 2JZ stock oil pan. I got the bucket right here. It's completely empty. Place this in place here. Hopefully I don't make a big mess on my toolbox. If I do, it's okay. It's just water. And here we go. Gonna help it out a little bit over here. And that's it. All right, let's put it on a flat surface and see where we're at. So we're actually at 5.5 liters. Just shy of 6 quarts, so that's kind of interesting because that would kind of fit the description of the 5 quarts, which is a JZX90. So maybe their description was meant to say that it's just a Aristo 2JZ or 1JZ oil pan are actually the same, but I was under the impression that the GS300 is actually the large 7-liter capacity. So let's drain this one now. You can see how the baffles are actually working. That baffle's opening while this one's staying closed, restricting the oil from getting to the corner of this pan. And it looks like it's it. Let's put the bucket on the flat surface. And we're actually way over 7 quarts. Very interesting. So we were at 6 quarts on the stock pan, and this one I want to say we're actually like 8 quarts in. So this pan holds 2 quarts more of oil than the stock Aristo 2JZ vvti pan. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I sure did, checking out the differences and now having a peace of mind knowing that my new engine is gonna have 2 more quarts of oil as it did before. Also, the baffle system, definitely something necessary for an oil front sump oil pan. You don't want to be in a situation like I was and ruin your brand new engine because of oil starvation and oil slush. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.